There's one belief that quietly sinks more equity crowdfunding campaigns than anything else. And that belief is that signing up to a platform like Wefunder or StartEngine taps you into a massive pool of active investors who will help drive your investment campaign to the finish line. You just sign up, build your campaign page, and just watch the magic work. And look, I mean, that's an intriguing offer. If you're running a company with a real critical need for working capital, that sounds like exactly the kind of solution you may have been looking for. But it's the same thing as opening a store on Shopify and expecting Shopify to bring you customers. Nobody would actually think that's how Shopify works. But that's exactly how a lot of founders interpret these platforms. The infrastructure's there, that's true, but the audience isn't really there in the same way as it's being presented. And nobody tells you that clearly before you're already committed. I've been part of campaigns that took off like a rocket ship, and I've been part of campaigns that fell flat on their face. And I'm going to tell you about two of those that fell flat on their face today. And I'll walk you through both of them in a couple of minutes. I promise. It's worth the wait. Now, before we get into all of this, if you're seriously considering an equity crowdfunding campaign, make sure you take my Equity Crowdfunding Reality Check course. It's free and it walks you through 3 conversations that you really need to have with yourself and your other founders, if you have them, before you launch a campaign. How much do you really need to raise? How many investors does that really require? And what does it cost to reach them? Most founders never sit down and work through these 3 basic questions honestly before they launch. And that's exactly why I created the reality check. So, again, it's a free course, and the link is in the description. And you won't be doing it alone. I'll be doing it with you. That's the whole point of this channel, is that you don't have to figure all of this stuff out by yourself. We can do this together. Okay, here's the part nobody explains clearly enough before you sign up on a platform like StartEngine, WeFunder, Republic, Fundable, and all the others. You are not launching into their audience. You're launching next to it. A lot of what gets counted in a platform's investor numbers is real people who showed up for one specific company they already cared about, they invested in it, and then they went back to their normal lives. Not because the platform failed them, just because that's who they were here for. Like, they are not active investors. Now, are there active investors on those platforms? Of course there are. But here's the thing about them: the ones who are active on the platforms, in most cases, they're not sitting there scanning for the next unknown company to pop up and race to become one of its earliest investors. They're just watching. They're waiting to see if your campaign actually has legs before they take you seriously. Momentum draws them in. And if you can't bring that to the table, you can pretty much count out most of the platform's audience. In nearly every campaign that runs, the momentum almost always comes from people who already believe in the company, not cold platform traffic. And this lines up with basically 100% of my own experience. Um, the platforms genuinely do give you something valuable. It's real infrastructure, real SEC integration, and all the mechanics that make the whole thing legal and functional. It's basically what Shopify gives you when you create a storefront with them. I mean, it's a really significant set of tools that they're giving you. But on average, the audience that they're presenting to you is only going to come through as a small percentage of your total raise. And that's for successful raises who brought their own momentum. For campaigns with less traction, you're going to get a much smaller percentage than that coming through for your company. You have to remember that the active platform audience, the active audience on these platforms is watching to see if your own people show up first, because they've never heard of you. They want proof of momentum, proof of traction before they're going to take you seriously. And no matter how good your idea is, no matter how cool your company might be, if you don't bring your own audience in numbers, the platform's audience isn't going to show up at all. The the founders who understand that and learn how to leverage that before launching a campaign, they have a completely different experience than the ones who find out in the second or third week of a live campaign and they're staring at a dashboard that just doesn't move. So, here are the two most valuable questions that you can ask yourself right now in this video. Number one, who is actually going to show up from your world and invest in your campaign? And number two, how many of them are there? So now let's go back to those two campaigns I mentioned earlier, because now you've got the context to better understand these examples. Now, the first founder had a genuine relationship with about 8 to 12 people who they insisted believed in their company and would back it with a serious check. And they were the kind of investors most founders would be thrilled to land. They hosted their campaign on Wefunder, and so they needed a lead investor. They got one of those people eventually to commit to starting off the round in a big way. The campaign launched. She came in as a lead, and then nobody else showed up. And it's not because the company wasn't good, it was because the founder was counting on the platform's audience to be a huge part of the raise. And that audience was watching them, waiting for proof that the company had traction. And they never got that proof. And so the raise just sat there flat out of the gate with only one investor's name attached to this thing that was not what she signed up for. And that's not just a hard moment for the founder, that's a hard moment for the person who trusted them enough to go first. And the worst part is that all of those hard moments happened publicly. Now, the second founder had a genuinely unique and scalable software product and had no shortage of ambition, but he had no audience at the time to bring to the table. And no organic audience meant that the only lever left was paid ads. Almost every investor had to be paid for one slow click at a time. And when the campaign finally wrapped up, it didn't even come close to its raise target. And most of the raised funds had been used for paying for the campaign. So I don't know if it was worth it, honestly. And I don't think he thought it was either. So, two different founders, two different companies, same root problem. Both of them believe that the platform's audience would carry more weight than it actually could. Neither one of them found out all of that until they were already live, already public, already spending money and time that they would never get back. So here's what I want you to walk away with today. Each platform is a real infrastructure, but it's not a marketing engine. And the gap between those two things is exactly where campaigns like the two I just told you about fall apart. But you don't have to fall into this expensive trap if you're simply prepared before you launch your campaign. All of this is avoidable. And that's why I created Really Crowded, because no one else was really helping founders by providing the gift of readiness. I built a repeatable and structured path that takes founders from the bottom of the equity crowdfunding learning curve to the top before they launch a campaign. And with this, they can experience what it's like to feel prepared and confident during the campaign. So the first step on this path is the reality check. As I mentioned above, it's a free course that walks you through the three most valuable conversations that every founder should have before they launch a campaign. And I can't tell you enough that these questions will really help get you started on the right track. The link is in the description, and again, it's totally free. Please enjoy it and get value out of it. If you want to reach out to me with your own experiences or questions, honestly, the best way to do it is in the comments. I'll read every single one of them. Thank you for supporting me during the start of this channel, and thank you for trusting me at this point in your equity crowdfunding journey.